Hey there, and welcome to my review of Persona 4, the 2008 PS2 RPG that is currently the latest game in the Persona series, not counting remakes. I was really tempted to call this game a remote RPG, but Persona 4 is such a well-known and celebrated game compared to the often overlooked Persona 3 that I felt like it would be trying to force a cat into a water bottle, and it just wouldn't work. After I played Persona 3 and fell in love with it, I just had to play the sequel that everybody seemed to love so much. I found that Persona 4 builds off of its predecessors pretty well, and the game lives up to the hype it gets. In contrast to the urbanized setting of Persona 3, Persona 4 takes place in a small town called Inaba. You play as the new kid who transferred into a local high school as you live with your uncle and a cousin for a year. However, shortly after you arrive, a string of murders begin to occur. Also, you hear about an urban legend called the Midnight Channel, where, if you look at a turned off TV on midnight while it's raining, you'll apparently see your true love. Spurred by a dare, but more likely because you're worried you'll be forever alone due to your silent protagonist syndrome, you find the rumor to be somewhat true as you and your friends discover that you alone possess the ability to enter televisions and explore the mysterious world within. You also find out that personas must be used in order to fight shadows in this world. And once you find out that a serial killer is using this world as a murder weapon, you and your friends take it upon yourselves to solve the mystery and return peace to Inaba. Who is the killer? What is the TV world? Can you stop the chaos? What would you do for a Klondike bar? Oh, sorry. Writing scripts makes me hungry. I really enjoyed the classic mystery style of Persona 4, and how the game lets you piece together the mystery yourself for a change. Of course, being an M-rated game, there's a lot of racy moments, innuendos, and macabre material, so only let children that you really hate play this game. Anyway, the story feels well constructed and comes with many great twists and turns, but unfortunately, many of my problems I have with the game stem from the narrative. Firstly, although the beginning and near the ending are amazingly told and intriguing, the middle section of Persona 4, particularly recruiting characters, was way too predictable. Simply because of the cover in the game or the opening cinematics, I knew which characters were going to join the party beforehand, so it was never surprising like in something like Grandia, where characters like Gadwin unpredictably enter. Furthermore, the game falls into this nasty habit of repetition. See the new character, they get kidnapped, save them, recruit them, and this takes up way too much of the game. In Persona 3, recruiting characters was never predictable, and story events would happen almost all the time, so you never got bored. Of course, the excellent dialogue, translation, and pretty much everything else made me want to keep playing Persona 4, but I still just can't ignore that major slump. I also didn't like how many false endings the game had. You know, when all the characters are celebrating, saying, "Oh, we just killed the last boss, everything's gonna turn awesome," and then I just look at them and say, "You know what? I'm only 15 hours in, and you guys are only like level 25. Don't lie to me, Persona 4, I'm not that stupid." It's like in Final Fantasy VIII, where Squall apparently dies on disc 1 of 4. I hate that shit. And Persona 4 does it, at least 3 times, which is unforgivable. Betrayal! And on top of that, the game has multiple endings, but to get the true ending, you have to use a walkthrough because the game doesn't want you to get it. It flat out tries to screw you over. But you know what? These flaws are absolutely nothing because this game is still amazing story-wise, and a lot of this is attributed to a great cast. You get a fantastic cast of characters in Persona 4, including Yosuke, the poor man's Junpei, who doesn't seem to stick out as memorable, but never annoys me either. Chie, the tomboy, who likes martial arts movies, and earns my respect for fighting things like this with her frickin' feet. Yukiko is the reserved young woman who decided that her weapon of choice is a fan. And the only people that agree that that's a good move are her biggest fans. LOLs! There's Kanji, a young rapscallion who's actually really compelling as a character with a confused social and sexual identity. And he manages to actually be the funniest character in the entire game, and that is saying something. Rize is a former pop superstar with a pretty annoying voice, but she still manages to be likable. There's Naoto, a young man? Woman? I don't know. But it's an ace detective, and once again, another strong and interesting character. Finally, there's Teddy, a mysterious bear from the TV world who spends the game telling jokes that aren't really punny. I really love this cast of characters, as the simple interactions you have with them all usually work well in telling the story. The characters were all dynamic, fun to interact with, but I can't help but feel that they were just a little cliche, like, you know, the big tough guy who's really a big softie, the goofy best friend, the shy girl, etc. However, the group still manages to be memorable and lovable, meaning that there's never really a dull moment. I often complain about the use of a silent protagonist in RPGs, but the use of this in Persona 4 is perfect because you actually feel like a member of this group, and your choices make the protagonist a suitable avatar for your quest to get bitches and save the world. Both equally important. It's the small things like the King's Game and the nights at the hotel that manage to be memorable and really pull you into the world of Persona 4. The gameplay of Persona 4 is extremely similar to Persona 3, except for the focus on weather rather than moon cycles, the fact that there are many small dungeons rather than a big one, you can't split up the team in dungeons, and so on. But the social link system, where you hang out with people and somehow fight stronger as a result, is still present. The social links in this game all come with some really compelling and realistic side stories, and since you can't see everything on one playthrough, there's a lot of replay value in this 60-hour or so game. Basically, Persona 4 is split into two sections, Life Sim and Dungeon Crawling. The Life Sim is just what you would guess. You go to high school, socialize, fail your tests, and go fishing, and such, until you have to explore the TV world, where the game quickly turns into a roguelike. You have to fight your way through dungeons that were a reasonable 10 floors long. It's also much quicker to level up in this game compared to Persona 3, which I really appreciated, as it didn't feel like the game was wasting my sad, pathetic life, like making lengthy internet reviews makes me feel. Along with fusing personas and keeping track of them, you still have to focus on managing your time, items, monies, etc. in order to proceed efficiently. Money especially needed to be managed well in this game, as you could rarely splurge, and purchasing the wrong items could screw you over later on. The battle system was almost exactly like it was in Persona 3, but this was still amazing, as battles were very fast while still requiring a good amount of strategy. I thought the follow-up attacks were much more useful in this game, but I hate how if the protagonist dies, it's automatically game over, even when the enemies spam those one-hit kill moves. This costed me a PS2 controller, I won't lie. But other than that, the exploration and battling were some quality stuff. I have to say that the life sim elements of Persona 4 were just so good that I found myself a little disappointed when I actually had to buckle down and fight, because I just enjoyed screwing around in the world so much. The difficulty of Persona 4 was perfect. Many battles could kill you if you didn't pay attention, and all the battles required different tactics rather than simple grinding to beat. I thought that this was a real strength that many RPGs seem to lack. The side quests in the game were pretty weak, and there wasn't too much urgency to complete them. That aspect of the game felt just kinda thrown in. I have to mention that I love the themes of Persona 4, as the game says a lot about the media and how mass psychology can affect us. They also brought back the older Persona concepts of inner shadows representing hidden emotions and accepting the darker side of yourself, which I thought was really well done here. I adored the subtle commentary on how children were being raised by television and the negative economic effects of giant companies moving into small towns and raping smaller businesses. The game gives you a lot to consider and think about in a much clearer fashion than Persona 3 did. Of course, I have to mention the music in the game, which is outstanding. A lot of it consists of J-pop, which I didn't think I'd like, but it's so addicting. I reach out, I hold up, I reach out to the truth. There's honestly just too many amazing songs to count, like Reach Out to the Truth, The Fog, and of course, I'll Face Myself. The voice acting was perfect. Everybody sounded just like I imagined they would. And only Rize's voice was mildly annoying. Overall, I was more than impressed with the voice acting. I just wish there was more of it, but I heard that's going to be fixed with the upcoming PSP Vita remake, Persona 4 The Golden Edition. The graphics in the game were also stellar. The locations were diverse, and the character designs were clean and thoughtful, and there was a lot of great atmosphere to boot. With basically no load times and so much stuff to see, there's really nothing to complain about here. In conclusion, Persona 4 was an amazing RPG and a must-play for anyone who enjoys the genre. Although I still prefer Persona 3, the fourth game was a damn good sequel that clearly had so much effort and love put into it that it's hard to deny its status as one of the best RPGs of all time. The rich dialogue, winding story, awesome music, unforgettable characters, everything, it just all clicked and made this a rich experience that older RPG fans will definitely enjoy. Well, all that's left to say is, Persona 5, get on that shiz! Thanks for watching.